everyone, Douglas here, and welcome to my Doctor Who review, and today I will be reviewing Gridlock. This story does deal with getting stuck in traffic. Yes, everyone's nightmare. And this story is the last story to be set on New Earth. Our cold open scene begins and we see a couple from American Gothic, and funny enough, that is from my home state in Iowa. So, is there a new Iowa? And they are getting attacked, and their code is something hot, and that is a reference to the Iowa Hawkeyes. Go Hawkeyes! Oh, I'm sorry, Panthers fans and Cyclones fans. Our opening scene begins. We see the 10th Doctor, played by Tennant, and Martha, played by Freema Agyeman. And we see Martha wants to go to the Doctor's planet. We see the Doctor is describing Gallifrey. We see the TARDIS lands back at New York. We see the face of Bo and Novus, played by Anna Hope. And the face of Bo knows the Doctor has arrived. We find out from the Doctor they are in the lower levels. We see people are opening their stands and they are selling something. We find out from the Doctor they are selling moods. We see a young woman comes up and she wants to buy Forget. We see the moods are in patches. We see Martha is getting kidnapped. We see the Doctor is going after Martha, but it's too late. We see the Doctor is getting information, and we find out the reason they need 3 is because it's car sharing policy to save fuel. I love the Doctor's line when he says, because as soon as I found her alive and well, and I will find her alive and well, then I'm coming back, and this street is closing tonight. We see Martha is waking up. We see Martha grabs a gun, and she wants to be taken back to the Doctor. We find out it's not a real gun. We find out her kidnappers are Chen, played by Lenroya, Chichlo, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing this, and Milo, played by Travis Oliver. We find out 10 miles is 6 years, and yikes, that would be a traffic nightmare. We see the Doctor is on the platform of the motorway, and we see someone saves him. We are introduced to Brannigan, played by Ada O'Hanlon, and Val, played by Jennifer Hensey. We see that there are kittens on board, and that doesn't make sense, to be honest. We find out they were born on the motorway. We find out they have been driving for 12 years. We find out the next lay-by is 6 months. We see the Doctor is trying to get in contact with the police, but with no success. We find out the motorway is completely enclosed. We see the Doctor is getting information, and he got what he is looking for. We see the car Martha is in, and we hear a rumbling noise, and Milo thinks it's the air vents. We see the Doctor needs to go to the fast lane, and Brannigan is refusing. We do see everyone is singing the Old Rugged Cross, and that is a great moment. We see Milo made it to the fast lane. We see the Doctor is going down to the fast lane himself, and one of the best scenes is when he is going down car by car. We see that Martha and her crew are hearing something, and Martha thinks that something is alive. We see someone is calling, and she says they need to get out. There is something in the fog. We see Martha tells Milo to drive fast. We find out from the man in the hat that the Doctor is at the bottom. We see that the Doctor wants to take a look what's down below. We see that Novus is looking for the Doctor. We find out what is down below, and it's the Macra. There is no such thing as Macra! This story sees the return of the Macra after a 40-year absence. I have to tell you this, when I first watched this story back in 07, I didn't know the Macra were a Doctor Who monster from the classic series, and I never watched the loose canon reconstruction of the Macra Terror. But in 2021, I did get to watch the animation of that story. We see that Martha and her crew are getting attacked by the Makwa. We see Milo touch off the engine and the attack stops. We do see a callback to the Makwa Terror, and they were an empire using humans as slaves and mining gas for food, and they are now just beasts. I will admit, how did this happen? The last time we saw the Makwa, they can talk, and they were smart, and how did they devolve like that? We see Novus is reunited with the Doctor, and I love how the Doctor remembers her. We see Novus needs the Doctor. We see Novus teleports the Doctor. We find out from Novus that the Doctor is in the Senate. We find out the new patch, Bliss, and it had a virus that killed the Senate, everyone, in 7 minutes flat. We find out the reason why the motorway was sealed off because they were saved because of the virus. We see the Doctor is reunited with the Face of Bo. We find out the Face of Bo saved everyone. I like how Martha is worried that she might die and her parents might never know. I like Martha's line when she says, "You've got your faith, you got your songs and your hymns, and I've got the Doctor." We see Milo turns the power back on, and the Makwa start attacking again. We see the Doctor is trying to save Martha. We see the power cuts off, and the Face of Bo saves everyone, and we see the open road. We see Martha and her crew are driving up. I do love the city, and it looks like Coruscant. We see the Face of Bo's case is shattering. We see that the Face of Bo is dying. We hear the Face of Bo say his last words, "You are not alone." And you might be thinking, what does he mean by that? We see Martha asks the Doctor what he means by that, and we see her refusing going back to the TARDIS. We hear singing of "Abide With Me." We see the Doctor is telling Martha about the Time War. We see a beautiful shot of New York, and that is the end. I will say, this is a good story, and there are some questions I have with this story, like, why are the Makwa like beasts? They were smart and intelligent, and they also talk, and I felt like they were a plot device. I think Martha got a good role in the story. I will give Gridlock a 7 out of 10. So that is my review of Gridlock. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel, and I will see you next time for my review of the two-part story, Daleks in Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks.